Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to sit down and record a message that I feel is very, very important to all of us, really. This isn't maybe specifically directed at either the divine feminine or the divine masculine, because it's really just, we're all one, right? And you and your counterpart, whether you are the masculine or the feminine listening, you have a counterpart and you're one with that counterpart, so that doesn't really matter. But what I wanted to say, that if you are listening to this message, then you are in the collective that is currently cleaning out past lifetimes and past timelines. So you're healing and releasing your past selves, not necessarily from this time around. So not only, let me just put it this way, so not only from your current incarnation, but from your previous ones. In fact, you may be actually cleaning out a lot of the things from your previous incarnations, because the wounds themselves you have carried over to next incarnation, and then the next and the next, right? So right now what you're doing is really releasing and healing, and really going back and changing these situations where you're meant to. So it can manifest itself in you having astral experiences of people, situations that you have never met before, or of places you have never been, where there's a certain situation playing out. This is, for example, what is happening to me, and it's such a really bizarre experience in a way, because like obviously in the moment where I am in there, I do not recognize the people, but I somehow know who they were to me at that time, and then I will break the pattern and pretty much just move on to the next situation, which is very rapid. If you're also feeling exhausted physically and mentally, then you're definitely doing a lot of spiritual work, and so just your body is healing as well, and is changing. It's accepting and anchoring the light codes and the healing that you're doing. So be very gentle with yourself, and just be patient with yourself, care for yourself, because that is what you need to do. And there's also a message of not feeling bad for the current state that you're in. So if you find yourself exhausted and in need of rest, and not necessarily feeling very creative and very driven to do things, even the things that really bring you joy, whatever that is, whether it's for your own sake, what it has to do like with your self-care, if you wish, or it has to do with your soul purpose. The message is very much, it's okay that you're just existing. It's okay that you're just listening to your body and taking it, just going with the flow. So basically spending your time according to how you're feeling in each given moment. So if you're, again, really guided to or feeling the need to rest, then do that. There's no pressure on your human self and your human life currently, because you're doing so much in the higher realms. Your human body needs time to catch up. That's why you are so exhausted, because the work that you're doing is really important. It's very huge, and so our condensed, dense human body just really needs the time to kind of adjust to it. So give yourself time. But having said all of that, what I wanted to kind of touch upon that has to do with all of this clearing out of past timelines or parallel timelines, if you will, your previous incarnations, the important thing for you to do, really, this is something that kind of came up for me, and the more I sit with it, the more sense it makes, because on the spiritual journey, right, we always talk about how, like, no matter what's happening, no matter what season you're in, no matter your situation or your spiritual path, really, it's extremely important for you to remember to kind of always come back to yourself, to always ground yourself. And like, when all is said and done, like, let's say at the end of the day, you are supposed to, and you are actually supposed to do that, you're supposed to kind of come back to yourself and do like a energetic cleansing, however that looks for you, whether you are doing a meditation, you're listening to meditation music or healing music, or healing frequencies rather, or subliminals, lighting incense, clearing energy, connecting with crystals, whatever you're doing for your spiritual practice, in order for you to come back to your soul, to come back to your center pretty much, and kind of release the energy of whatever it is that you are involved in currently in your 3D reality, again, or whatever situation or like period of your spiritual journey you are. So whether you're working on something, you're maybe immersed in your own healing, maybe you are really doubling down and working on your soul's purpose, you give, because everything that you are interacting with, you're giving your energy to. So let's get kind of back to basics. I will see if I'm gonna do like a part 2, because I don't mind recording long videos for you guys to listen to. This is just the way I feel guided to, but maybe I will do actually a 2-part. But okay, so let's go back to basics, right? Removing for a moment the 3D reality. So we are light beings, right? We're made out of energy. Everything that exists is made out of energy. If you want to bring quantum physics into it, and string theory or something, we are made of particles that vibrate on different frequencies, right? And everything is connected. So basically we are energy, we are particles of energy, right? And each time you do something, whether you think of something, whether you are experiencing a certain emotion, so you're feeling something, whether you're speaking, Even if you're listening, because you processing what you're listening to is also giving out energy. Whether you are writing something, like no matter what you're doing, really, you are giving out your energy, as in you are emitting light. So think of a light source, whether it's the sun or like a light bulb, right? So it has its center, and then if you see a lamp shining light in the room, you see the objects in the room, because some of that light from the lamp itself kind of falls onto the things that you are looking at in the room, right? So whatever you're looking at. So basically the light itself is giving out its energy in order for you to be able to see other things. And it's kind of the same thing with us. We are made out of light, and we're emitting that light. And to make it maybe easier for us to kind of understand, I will say that when I say light, I mean energy. It's just that those two are pretty much the same, but yes. So if you're speaking with somebody, if you're writing in your journal, you're maybe chatting with somebody online, whether you are writing emails, whether you're reading something, whether you're speaking to someone either through your phone or face to face, right? Or like whatever you're doing, you're giving your energy into things, right? And so the counterstone of your spiritual practice should be always kind of retracting your attention, so your energy, from the things that you have been invested into. Let's say at the end of the day, it's a good thing to do that, because it's very good for you, if you will. It's very good for us to kind of come back to our energy. It's not that you should always do it at least once a day, but you should at least do it once a day. But if you're guided to meditate or take a walk in the middle of the day, because the first half of your day it was so intense and there was so many things happening that you kind of need grounding and you need to come back to yourself, then do that. But this is very important, right? So we have established one thing. So everything you do, everything you pay attention to, everything you consume, anything you are giving your time or your attention, is you giving your energy out to these things or situations or people. And some of it is warranted because you are either contracted to, because there's a soul contract you have to fulfill, right? Or there's let's say a lesson for you, or whatever it is, really. So you kind of have to remember, like, when the time comes that, it's time for me to, I don't know, let's use the example of work, right? The 3D work. If you're currently working, if you're still working in the 3D, then you kind of can, or if you have in the past, then you can understand that, okay, well, you may be in your zone, in your temple before work, right? At your home, and you're very centered, you're very balanced, you are very much at peace, and you radiate your energy freely because you are like in a safe space, right? Let's say your home. I hope your home is your safe space. If not, please do make necessary changes, because it is a terrible existence to have a home where you don't feel at peace, or when you're not free to feel, experience, or express yourself as you please. Just a side note there. And then, of course, okay, so in the morning, right, you're in your zone, you're in your temple, your sacred space where you feel safe, and then, now it's time for me to go to work. And you go to work, and whether or not let's say you are forced, well, not forced, but let's say you're contracted to do the things at work that you're supposed to do. And so you have to do your work, obviously. You're interacting with your coworkers or customers or others or whatever, however it looks like, right? And let's say that your workplace or your work consists of things that bring down your vibration. No matter the reason, whether it's the workplace itself, the work itself, maybe the fact that you feel bad because, or you're worried because you don't earn enough, or you're disappointed because you're not being seen at work, you're not being appreciated, maybe it's the colleagues that you don't get along with, and so on and so forth, right? So things and or situations or people will be bringing down your vibration, and then it's time for you to go home because your work day is done, and then you come home, and it's very important that then you kind of try to come back to yourself, however it looks like. Maybe you are a firm believer that you, by taking a shower or taking a bath, are cleansing yourselves from like external energies, and that way, by doing that, you're coming back to yourself, and so rising within yourself, and so raising your vibration. And you should do that, because whatever feels right for you is right for you and is your truth, and so you should follow that. Whether you're listening to music, meditating, going to the gym, watching a movie, whatever it is that you're doing, right? And that is very important. But what is even more important, that when you are going through experiences that are a lesson, because pretty much everything that we're experiencing is a lesson, but especially the situations, places that really drain your energy, that really bring you down, and even not talking in spiritual terms, even if you feel like shit after being at work, or feeling like shit by spending time with, let's say your parents, where you know that they're very much narcissistic parents, but you're kind of the good kid and you don't want to hurt them, you want to do the right thing, right? And you continue spending time with them, you continue giving to them, right? Even though it makes you feel like shit. It's very important for you to kind of retreat back to yourself, whether it's, let's say, your own room, if you're living with your parents, or back to your own home, so that, let's say, you feel like, okay, I've done my duty, I have had some contacts with my parents, or let's say a sibling, but now I am home and I don't want to think about it. So it's important for you to kind of release that energy that has been bringing you down, whatever it is that is bringing you down. So the whole really reason why I am really recording right now is because this is something that has been weighing very heavy, and it's kind of been like a message that has been kind of circling back again and again, and it's even now kind of difficult for me to put into words, but I'm gonna try. And if you're listening to it, then you're on the same vibration. I think you will understand what I'm trying to say. But because right now you're releasing so much of unhealthy attachments and negative patterns within yourself. You're healing negative beliefs that you may have carried from past lifetimes. You're healing your past self and your previous incarnations, and so you're doing a lot of work. It is extremely important that you, in your 3D reality, you kind of remember and remind yourself that just because things are happening on the higher levels, or like in the higher dimensions, you are actually also supposed to kind of follow through in the 3D. So just as I talked about how the importance of energetic cleansing, as soon as you really feel guided to, whether it's, you're driving to work and you're listening to your favorite music, and it kind of brings you to your center and you're feeling good, right? However it looks like, you should do it as soon as you feel called to, as soon as you really need it. This is something that we really should be doing as soon as we feel the need to it, because there will be different periods of time, and probably each day will be kind of different, or each couple of days, let's say. So each day pretty much will call for a different approach, and if you're going with the flow, and you should of course try to, and so the thing is, especially for my collective, if you're listening to it and you're the part of the collective that is on a spiritual journey with your twin soul, and your vehicle that your soul use to ascend and to raise both your own vibration and that of the collective humanity and earth and so on, through like romantic love, whatever the label, whatever you want to call it, soulmates, twin flames, kingdom marriages, genetic equals, however you quantified it in your mind, whatever label you have slapped on it, go with that. We obviously, a huge part of that spiritual journey is our karmic contracts with people that must be fulfilled, because that is our karma, like a karmic debt that we have accumulated through our incarnations. And if you're listening to it right now, you are currently living in an incarnation where you're meant to merge back into one with your beloved. So with your divine counterpart, with your forever person, however you wish to call them, right? And so what is happening right now is that huge cleansing. If you're listening to it, then you are probably have cleaned pretty much everything from this incarnation alone. But what you're doing right now, and the reason why you're so tired, is because your soul and your higher self, if you will, is not going back in time, because time doesn't exist, but you're healing and fixing, let's say, situations from your other incarnations, from, let's say, your past lives, if you wish to name it like that. So the important part of this journey is obviously fulfillment of this contract. So if you're bound to a workplace or a family situation, or a marriage, a relationship, friendships, whatever the hell, you are bound to kind of fulfill that contract. So you kind of have to allow, no matter how much you don't want it, don't like it, and even how much you have healed, you have to allow for the situation to play out. It's going to be organically it's going to be living your life organically when the time for that situation comes, for it to kind of dissipate, to disappear, right? And so we are told over and over to surrender to the divine will, to the divine creator, and kind of allow for the things to come, whatever comes our way, because everything that is happening is for our highest good, even though in certain moments we may have thought that, oh wow, this is like really hurtful or really cruel, like why would something like this happen to me, or why would I meet people like, you know, in my life that would hurt me this much. But later on, when you're already over that hurdle, so when you look back at the situation, once you have healed and released kind of the thing, when you pretty much got the point and you have healed the hurt that situation kind of reminded you of, because that is the whole reason of karmic contracts, you kind of look back and realize like, oh, this was like, it was a good thing that this thing happened to me, because of that I was allowed, or I was able to finally heal that and release that, right? And so it's a good thing. It's always a good thing. We humans have obviously been very much brainwashed, I will say, by everybody around us, that we have to struggle, we have to work extremely hard for just about anything, and that life is cruel, it's horrible, we will never get anything, right? And we have healed that, we have been healing that, we have been dealing with that. And of course it's about shifting the mindset, it's about raising above that kind of mindset, the victim mentality, because it's bullshit, it's nonsense. We are not victims. All of us have chosen all of our life's paths. So whatever bullshit you're dealing with, or whatever bullshit I am dealing with, we actually signed up for that. So we don't need really saving. We just kind of need to wake up and save ourselves. Not really save, but we are just meant to kind of see the truth of everything that is happening around us. And the more truth you see, the more kind of positive outlook you try to have on each situation, the more you will rise, and the more of truth will actually be shown to you. So you will kind of understand the actual truth of what was happening, why, and you will be freed from all of that. So of course it's very important. And so we talk about how we are meant to kind of go through these karmic situations with karmic people to learn the lesson. So we are to heal, we are to work through certain things that are within us, and then we are meant to release that, however it looks like for you, like no matter what the way. And then once we have released that emotionally and mentally, then we are to move on. So the whole point, right, is really for each one of us to come to the point that no matter what lesson, no matter what wound that is triggered within us, or what pattern comes up within us or others that we allow others to do unto us, we are meant to kind of recognize these things, kind of find the root of it, try to understand it with the perspective that you have at each given moment, right? Each time it's happening to you. And you're pretty much just supposed to reparent yourself. So you're pretty much explaining to the little you within you that, oh, you know, this is kind of what's happening. There's a bigger reason for all of that. And through that, you are becoming at peace with whatever is happening to you. And then you're supposed to release that. So, to my point, when it comes to releasing and cleansing energy, I'm actually going to do a part 2, because I needed to kind of introduce the whole idea for my actual message to make sense to each one of you. So if you have resonated with this podcast, then I'm happy. You're very welcome to listen to part 2, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.